highly sensitive woman who cares so deeply that she is wanting to lighten the burden for everyone. And in the end, you are just so exhausted that you just want to lie on the floor and weep, then this video is for you. Hi, welcome to Nature Our Nurture Counseling. I'm Hilke and I'm a holistic counselor and wellness coach. And many of my beautiful clients are highly sensitive women. They care deeply, they think deeply, and they feel deeply. And because of this caring nature, they are there for everyone. They have such good hearts. They work so hard. They want to do the right thing. And somehow this effort isn't always reflected back at them. And they just end up exhausted and often burnt out. And to the point where they really are so exhausted that they are getting sick. And that is because of this caring nature and because of our roles in society as women, where we are supposed to take care of the family, take care of the kids, and there's this ingrained belief that the kids come first, and of course work comes first, and of course the house should look a certain way, and dinner needs to be on the table and organized, and all of this work that is often unseen. And in neurodivergent families, this can be sort of amped up to the max. And this is something that's not being talked about a lot. But some of our beautiful neurodivergent kids are having such a hard time growing up, and they cannot let that out at school or anywhere else. So where does it come out? In the place that they are feeling safe at home. And the person who has to pick up all the pieces and who has to try and be the enforcer for the school system and not be termed a bad mother and it's all your fault anyway, and how are you raising your kids? These women then end up trying to carry this really impossible burden of making a child who really suffers in our school system and our society, trying to enforce the rules and get them to go back to school. And I just want to say, not just amongst my clients, but especially so, this is much, much more common than people would think. And the enormous suffering that is going on behind closed doors is so huge that, of course, it breaks families, it breaks people, but the mothers are often the ones trying to hold that together. And then I see them in my sessions, and they have just, I don't know, maybe they're even having a lunchtime session with me while they're at work or working from home. Then they're going to have to pick up the kids. Then they do all of this, and they just do not know how to carry on. And yeah, I've done another separate video on highly sensitive women and burnout, and yeah, what you can do about it in a little video I'll link to here. And today I want to talk about, though, when you're besieged from all sides in a situation like that, very, very often, in my experience, what I see is that the woman herself is just joining in the fun of bashing herself up. And so there is no refuge. So when you think you're getting criticized from all sides, you're having problems everywhere, the one person who you would hope would be on your own side would be you. And especially with neurodivergent women, especially with highly sensitive women, we've been told from a very young age in so many different ways how we are wrong and how we don't fit, and that we've internalized this to a huge extent and aren't even able or capable anymore to care for ourselves in the way that we ought to. So, with my clients, when we work on this, because it is so common, and you're watching this video, so you might relate to this as well. When we start talking about self love and self care, that is deeply uncomfortable for them. And they have beautiful values often. I do have lovely clients, but if you are deep thinking, deep feeling, you are often a caring person and you hold values such as kindness and caring and family and values like that. And these women are good at living these values and at applying them, but they are not applying them to themselves. And it's not because they are stupid, it's because it's been beaten out of them by the system. And so if this is a place that's really uncomfortable, that's a situation that leads to burnout, leaves you constantly overwhelmed, but it also is something that you don't fix just like that with, I don't know, a little self-care or whatever. Because self-care, the famous phrase, self-care is not just bubble baths, it's how you do it. And this internal attitude towards being kind to themselves, that's something that we uncover in our sessions, and we work on the values and applying them to themselves, and then letting themselves off the hook and creating some space in your life, in their lives, to be able to breathe and to be able to recharge, and then to look at, is self-love selfish, or is it putting on the oxygen mask first? You know, like when you're in an airplane, that old picture where they tell you, in the event of an emergency, the oxygen masks come down from the top, and your instinct, of course, is to put the oxygen mask on your loved ones' faces so they can breathe. But within seconds, without oxygen, you're going to faint. And that means no one gets oxygen. So they say, put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then you can put it on everyone else, on your kids. And the same is true in life. If you just beat yourself to a pulp, really, inwardly, which is what many of my lovely clients do, because they constantly feel what they're doing isn't enough, it's not good enough, they should have reacted differently, they should have done yet something else, they should have worked harder, been kinder, whatever. That just perpetuates this whole spiral of burnout, of overwhelm, and doesn't give any space to take back the control. Because the answer isn't always to do more. Sometimes you have to step back. There are some things you cannot control. So in case of many neurodivergent kids, maybe with a PDA profile, maybe ADHD, the school system will never work for them. And you can either just, I don't know, fight against windmills. You're never gonna win. Or you can take a step back, support yourself, and then support your child from a different perspective. So it's not always about just doing more. Often it's about doing less, taking a step back, doing things differently, and looking at things differently, and maybe just not being complicit to the system anymore. And I know that's probably controversial and radical, but it can be the only way out. And you can then start rebuilding in a way that works for you, your kids, your family. And yeah, if you would like to find out a little bit more about your own situation, about what makes you tick, I've got this little self-coaching questionnaire on my website. It's free and I'm linking to it in the notes. And it's really quick to fill in, and then within a couple of days I send you some personal feedback, and there's no obligation, but it might give you some insights. And if you would like to know a tool that can help you to find calm, I'm going to link to that at the very end. So I'd love to know if anything in this video resonated. I think it's quite obvious that I didn't have a script, but this is just something I had to get off my chest, and I'd love to hear about your situation. And if anything resonated, I'd be ever so happy if you could give me a little thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for further videos. Take care. Have a beautiful day.